this is Bruce with Hunsaker Home Hacks. Please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for future notifications, share me with a friend and on social media. So today we're going to talk about a blind motor driver or curtain driver. It's for ball chain, curtains, ropes, and all that good stuff. So what are we going to do? We're going to open this box, we're going to see what's inside, we're going to check this puppy out. So don't touch that dial, stay right here as we check out the Zemismart Wi-Fi blind curtain ball chain roller driver. Say that 10 times real fast.
What's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Well, as you can see, there's not a lot of markings on the box. So we're going to start with cue the music, Phil. We have a nice piece of transparent paper, an instruction manual, and we have a remote control holder. Know what that is? I do. A USB charging cable. Different wheels to pull the blind. And screws. A little pointer guy. Alright, so far what did we get in the box? We have a little pointy guy. This is for pointing at the reset button on the bottom of the device. And then we have anchors, instruction manual, wheels for the pull, a USB cable, charging cable, piece of 3M tape there, a remote control, so you have up, down, and pause. A remote control holder with a looks like maybe magnetic, and a piece of tape. So this goes in there. And this guy right here is the brains of the operation. And this guy is the worker. It's a roller blind. So this is made for pulling pull chain curtains, blinds, and pull chain shades. And as you can see there, we have a wheel, which these guys right here can be replaced by that wheel. It's got a good deal of weight to it. It's got a mounting bracket right here. You mount it to the wall. Advantage: this can be charged up, and I believe it lasts for 6 months, depending on normal usage. So what are we going to do? We're going to take this roller blind motor, and we're going to hook this puppy up and open some blinds, or some curtains, or some shades.
Okay, the instructions don't really go through this too much, but we're going to talk about it. This is a ball chain, and the unit comes with this right here, which is designed to pull ball chain curtain rods and blinds right there. But if you're not using a ball chain, you have these adapters. These adapters here are all for different types of curtain pulls. So if you are pulling a rope, a thin rope, this is a good guy right here. If you're pulling a mini ball chain, you would want to use this one. And if you're pulling a thick rope, you would want to use this one. So you got to make sure that when you're setting up your curtain or shade puller, you want to select the right puller so there's no slippage. So we're going to use probably this guy right here to pull our rope. And then all you do is you take it and you attach it to your motor. It's fitted. You just push it on, like so. And if you want to change it out, if you chose the wrong one, you need to choose something that's going to gently pry it up. This, just get onto the back, slowly pry it back up. And then you can pull it off the rest of the way, and then do your second choice. So just put it on. So there you go. So make your selection good for the type of curtain that you have, but this is not really in the instructions. So you want to take your time and make sure that you're choosing the right guide for the curtains or blinds that you have. Okay, so we're going to do a curtain pull, which has this nice little rope here. The laws have changed in the US over time because little Johnny put this around his neck and then he pulled on it. So you can see all the different safety measures to keep little Johnny from, you know, playing with the curtain cord. So the first thing we got to do to automate it is we need to get this off. So we're going to pull that up, and now we've disconnected this. And then we have this neat little thing at the top right here. We don't really need this. It doesn't really serve our purpose. So let's get this all disconnected. There we go. So we got all the junk off. Alright, so here's our little guy just hanging on our chain. We want this to hang freely so we can pull with just enough tension on the cord. And we want it to be level. And here's our wall plate. Right there. Pretty typical looking wall plate. It goes into the back of our motor, like this. Just like that. So the best thing to do is hang your motor where you want it. Take your level, and you got to realize two things. Chances are your wall is not straight. So if your wall is not straight, you're going to have a problem trying to determine if it's level. Alright, so put your marks on, disconnect your plate, and find your marks. So if you look at the back of the motor, you realize that you have a space right there. So this goes like this. So if you're holding your motor up, and you know where the top is, and you know where your space is, you can eyeball it. And there you go. Take your level again, put it against it, and try to figure out where your level spot is. Mark your holes. And there you go. And I find it easier just to manhandle it in. So that's just under the size of my anchor for the first one. And I know right now that there's a stud there. And I don't believe these little guys are going to get into that stud. Yeah, they might get into the stud. Just barely get into that stud. So we got our holes. We're going to take our anchor. We're going to stick it in there. Even though I know there's a stud back there, drywall is very brittle, and I brought too much hammer for the job. Way too much hammer. So gently we tap them in. Now we take our plate we pick our top side right here. Finger screw that in. Now where's my other one? There it is. And we pick our bottom side. Then we get our screwdriver and start screwing it into the anchor, and in my case it's going to go into the stud. Alright. Alright, so we got that in. Now we're going to take our motor. And boom, we now have a drive motor installed on our chain or our rope. Now we don't have our limits or anything set, but as you can see, it's pulling the rope quite nicely and quietly. Alright, so that's just controlling it with the remote control. Starts out a little slow. We have 2 speeds. Even at the higher speed, it's very quiet. But installation is pretty simple. You just want you don't want them pulling, but you want them a little bit taut. So since it just pulled this way, the tautness is on this one. And this one's a little looser. And for the price, these things are way cheaper than other ones that you see out on the market. Way cheaper. Doesn't mean that they're made cheaper. They're just cost cheaper. And then you put this little guy in. So let's go about getting the curtains on and setting the limits. Okay, we're going to set our limits. So in order to set our limits, we're going to hit this button here on the bottom. And then hold this till it flashes. Then we're going to go and do our next limit, which will be the closed position. Okay, so now we're going to set this limit. And so in order to set this limit, we're going to hit here and here. So now it reverses the switches, but we should be able to get now to the point where it's going to stop when it reaches the full open position. And it did. It stopped at the full open position. So now if we hit this one, it's going to go to the close. And it should stop when we get to the full close position. There we go. Alright, so now the next thing we're going to do is open it up to our midpoint position. We hit stop for our midpoint position. And then we're going to hit the button again. And that's our midpoint position. So now we should be able to that's our midpoint position. And then we're going to go all the way back down to our full open position, like that. Alright, so now we've set our limits. Okay, so let's close the curtains with the remote. So they went to the midpoint position first, and now they'll go to the full close position.
Alright, there's the close position. Might need some fine tuning to get that seam to close up. So now we're going to open them with the remote. And it should stop at the midpoint position first. And it did, perfect. And then full open position. And it stops. Okay, so now we're going to set up the dongle. We're going to go into the Smart Life app. We're going to go in the upper right hand corner, hit the plus sign. And then we're going to go look for small appliances. And we're going to look for curtains. We're going to select just curtains and go to our network. So the first thing we tried was easy mode. Now easy mode didn't connect, so we're fast forwarding here. And we're going to go into AP mode because AP mode is our next step. For some reason I couldn't get it to connect in easy mode. So now that easy mode has failed, we're going to attempt to install it using AP mode. AP mode is the alternative mode that uses the Wi-Fi in the dongle to connect to your phone, and then you connect to your Wi-Fi. So you have to turn off the dongle to make sure that it's fresh. And then you're going to see if it's blinking fast or if it's blinking slowly. If it's fast, you need to use easy mode. If it's blinking slowly, then you would use AP mode. So right here I'm resetting it into AP mode so we can make the dongle's LED light blink slowly. As you can see right here, the dongle is blinking slowly, so we are ready to go over to the next step. So we're going to confirm that it's blinking slowly. Now we're going to go to find the Smart Life Wi-Fi, and we're going to select Smart Life C15A, and we're going to wait for it to connect. Now that we're connected to C15A, now we're going to go back to the application, and it's going to search for the dongle and add it to our Smart Life app. Boom, bada bing, there it is. And now we'll add it to the room. Alright, so now we're going to look at the application. So as you can see right now, it says that the curtains are at 47%-ish, and we're moving it down to 100% closed. Then you can move it back up to 100% open. So once it completes, easy peasy, fresh and squeezy. There you go. Over here you have the pause button, and then you have a up and down button that match the remote control and the buttons on the front of the blind. Over here you have the word more, and under more you have motor direction and schedules. So you can set a schedule up to repeat every day of the week. You can set it up for a 24-hour day by 12-hour periods, so you have an AM and a PM. So if you wanted your curtains to open every day at 7 in the morning, you just feed down to 7, and then you choose AM, and then you choose the day of the week that you want this to do. So I wanted to open at 7 AM every weekday, and then the control feature is either open and or close. So we're done, and now we'll save it. So now every day at 7 AM every weekday it will open up. I will now put my close feature, so every day at 7 PM I would like it to close. So we're going to do this every day of the week. And then we're going to go here and choose close and say done and save. So the schedule is going to open the curtains up at 7 a.m. and at 7 p.m. it's going to close the curtains. Alright, so to get the Echo device to give it a more common wording, open and close the living room curtains, I had to create a routine. How did I do that? Well, the first thing is we looked at our devices and we go over here and we're going to check to see if we have the device we're looking for, and that should fall under L, and there we go. As you can see right here is living room curtains, so we have the device in there. So now from here we're going to back out. We're going to go in here and we're going to check and create a routine. Now I already created the routine. The routine's here at the bottom. It's called living room window. And this is just for the curtains, not the shade. So the living room window, if you go into living room window, you're going to see that the phrase is open living room curtains. And that's good. And now what is the action? So we go into the action and you're going to see that it powers on the device. And then when it powers on the device, it takes it to the first limit. If you say the phrase again, it takes it to the second limit. And there you go. So that's for opening it. Now we're going to go into the living room window 2. And you can see the phrase is close living room curtains. And then we'll click on this and you'll see that it powers off the device. So if the window is fully open, or the curtains are fully open, it'll take it to the first limit, which is the midpoint limit, and then if you say it again, it will take it to the full close limit. And that is how you put it into common verbiage. Without common verbiage, it is on and off, and it doesn't seem to want to work as easily as putting it into a nice flowing phrase. So there you go. That's how you set up your voice service so you can use common words.
Alexa, open living room curtains.
Okay.
So the curtains open to the first limit. Alexa, open living room curtains.
Okay.
Now they go to the second limit. Alexa, close living room curtains.
Okay.
So they go to the first limit, which is the midpoint. Alexa, close living room curtains.
Okay.
And then go to the final limit on close. There you go. So now you got to see the Zemismart Wi-Fi motor drivers for curtains and blinds. So let's go over a few things. We already went over a lot of things, but let's just kind of touch on a couple different things. This guy is the brains of the operation right here. This little guy right here. See him right there? He's the brains of the operation. At least if you want out-of-home connection, if you want Wi-Fi, or you want to connect it to Wi-Fi and you want to connect it to the Amazon Echo product, you must have this guy installed in your home. You can practically install this guy anywhere there's a USB port. That's cool. Now, when I was installing this though, I tried to install it in the living room and it didn't install. So I had to bring it into my office closer to the Wi-Fi. It likes to be close to the Wi-Fi when you're trying to install it. And then I had to use AP mode. AP mode basically just connects it to your phone via the Wi-Fi in this little guy. And then after that, it then learns your Wi-Fi information from your phone and then connects right up. After that, you can move this guy anywhere you want in your house. Simple. Put it in a little thing, stick it in the wall, and it will control through your app to your curtains or blinds. Simple. When setting mine up, I used a curtain rod for curtains. That's what we wanted to do. Setting the limits was a little bit tricky. I tried to give you as much detail in that area of the video, but for the most part, you just want to realize this. When you go to set the limit, you click the reset button or the key set button on the bottom, and then you hit the top arrow. And that sets either it as open or closed, depending on what you want that one to be. But when you go to set the second limit, which would be the closed position, in my case, you actually click the bottom button and hit the down arrow, and that reverses the motor, and you have to re-go, hit the key set button again, and then click the up arrow to record that position. And then you can go to your midpoint position, which is clicking the key set button and then the middle button. Now at this point, your motor will be running the reverse direction that it did at the time, but you would just click the button again and hit the bottom down arrow, and boom, bada bing, you're now back to the same way, keeping the limits that you set. There's two speeds within the motor itself. There's like a slow, creepy speed, and then if you double tap it, it goes faster. And that's cool. No real stress or strain. The motor works very quietly, so if you're looking for a very quiet motor, this one is super quiet as compared to some other ones I've seen. I'm very impressed for the price of this, how quiet it is. That's impressive. The voice services work really well, but you will need to set up a routine to use common language. So if you want to say open and close the curtains in the living room, you're going to have to set a routine. Once you set that routine, you're good to go, and you can do it from there on out. If you don't set up the routine, words are not common, it's on and off. I don't really like that. It doesn't flow very well. So when you're trying to set something up, do a routine. I gave you what I did in the video. So if you missed it, go back and look at it. Alright, so this is Bruce with Hunsaker Home Hacks. If you're interested in this product, I put a link below where you can find it with all the specs and details. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm even on Pinterest. I've never really said that, but I'm on Pinterest too, so if you have the interest, look for me on Pinterest. This is Bruce, and I will see you soon!